Off-season training. Now, off-season training is a very key part that plays into your success for the actual season. And in this case, we're going to be talking about off-season training for cross country. Now, this is typically training done in the summer, over like summer break after your track season, to kind of help you out during cross country season. And so, today we're just going to be going over a few tips and tricks, things that I personally did to help build speed and strength that helped me win my first state title in cross country. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. This video idea came from a comment that I got from my previous video. So if you guys have anything you want to add, anything that I missed from this video as well as you're watching it that personally helped you but I didn't really talk about, feel free to go ahead and add that might help somebody else. But yeah, let's get right into it. So the first tip that we're going to be going over is to be able to keep your speed and speed strength, or to build it up. So now this is the difference between if you did track and if you didn't. So obviously if you did track, you probably do have more speed than those who didn't, simply due to the fact that even the longest track event is shorter than a 5K. So you are going to be working some speed comparatively to the 5K. So even if you were only like a 3200 kind of guy, I'm sure you still did some miles and things of the such, which do incorporate some speed. So it is important to have that speed. Now, even if you didn't do track, it is fine because these things still help it. You just might end up being a little bit more sore or something, just because of the fact that your body isn't used to doing these kind of speed stuff. But these little runs will help you kind of maintain that momentum or build that speed, so it's kind of helpful. So the first one is going to be hill sprints. Now hill sprints, you want to kind of do these after e-runs preferably, so you don't get injured, or pull anything, to make sure that you're fully warmed up. And these hill sprints are more to work on your overall strength, and this will definitely help for cross country because there's just a lot more hills, and so having this extra strength will definitely give you the edge over your other people who just didn't work on that. So just kind of getting it into your body that even after kind of a longer run that you're going to need to still be able to run hard up a hill. It's definitely something that just helps build overall strength, and just kind of helps your mind as well to kind of remind yourself do what you're gonna have to do. But obviously you don't want to go too hard on these. These are sprints, but make sure that if you feel something funny, like your hamstring or your quad, then make sure to pull back on the amount that you're doing, because obviously the point of off season is to just kind of you don't want to do anything super hard. So the main thing is that you're running, right? You want to make sure that you're continuously running, but make sure that you're doing nothing that'll make you go to the well, because you can do that once season starts. Like, that's kind of the whole point of off season. And the next thing that you're going to want to do is these sort of shorter sprints. Now these are going to be like top end speed sprints, to kind of help develop your overall speed. The way to do this, or the way that I personally did this, was to just do these quick top end speed sprints about 40 to 50 meters. If you don't really know how far that is, if you've ever been to a football field or something, it's about 40 to 50 yards. It's a bit shorter, but you kind of get the idea. You don't want to go too far with these top end sprints because you can't hold your top end speed or your maximum speed for that long anyways. So just as long as you're doing like 3 sets of 40 to 50 meters, it doesn't even have to be that long at first. It can be just 30 meters, as long as you're kind of thinking about your form, your sprinting form. You can just watch, there's tons of YouTube videos on form. You can record yourself and then kind of check your form, see if it's similar, see if your arm drive is correct, if your knees are coming up, things like that. Because obviously form is also another important thing, which brings me into my second tip, which is going to be your running form. Now in this case, obviously because we're talking about cross country, we're not going to be talking about sprinting form specifically, but more over your overall form when you're running. Now these can be things like heel striking, overall low knee drive, things that can hamper your ability to run your hardest, especially in cross country. When you get tired and your form becomes to get sloppy, whoever has the best form, whoever's using their energy the best, is going to have an advantage. So you're going to want to focus on that. Again, similar to the sprinting form, there's tons of videos. It's kind of difficult to explain it properly, but make sure that your arms aren't exactly crossing across your body when you're running, because you're kind of just wasting energy, and simple things like that can definitely make a huge difference. So putting emphasis on your form, which once more brings me into my next point, which is going to be threshold runs. Now threshold runs are really important. These can build a lot of aerobic capacity, and kind of give you an idea of just like a mental strength of, the pain that you're going to be feeling, but still making sure that you're able to, run through that, push through that. And tempo runs are also great because it gives you an opportunity to work on your form, because obviously the more tired you are, the more mentally fatigued you are, the worse you feel, the more likely you are to, kind of revert to whatever feels the most natural to you. And if whatever feels the most natural to you is bad form, then that's going to happen in a race, and you don't want that to happen. So it is a really great way to kind of start to work on your form, to try to fix it through these kind of tempo runs, these threshold runs, to kind of just actively think of your form when you're doing these, so that when you do end up being in a race, it comes to you more naturally to have better form. Now, as for specific workouts for these threshold runs, you can find a lot online. An example of some that I personally did would be something like 6x1k, k being kilometer, in which I would just go 6 sets of 1 kilometer, hitting about my estimated threshold pace. And you can kind of get this, there's like online calculators when you can put your personal PRs, and it'll kind of give you an estimate of your threshold pace. But I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a pace that you're supposed to be able to hold for about an hour. But just play around with it, see what feels good for you. Obviously, it's not supposed to be easy, but it's not supposed to be so hard to where you just can't hold it. But as for workouts, the 6x1k is great, but there's other tons of workouts that you can find online, so you can just kind of search up, see whatever you want to do. And the important thing, again, make sure that you're not going to the well, going to your limits on these workouts, because it is just off-season workouts where you're kind of you should be enjoying it, you should be having fun, because obviously the harder workouts are going to be coming for you during the season. So make sure you are pushing yourself, but don't push too hard. Now, my next tip is going to be your overall nutrition and hydration. Now, this is an aspect that, a lot of people tend to overlook. You focus so much on the actual running part, the actual workout parts, that we sometimes forget that the running part doesn't actually make us more fit. It's the recovery after the running part that allows our body to build itself stronger, faster. So recovery and nutrition is very, very important to actually make yourself faster. Now, this can be done through things like making sure that you get in proper carbohydrates, proper protein. Easy way to do this is, say eating a Cliff Bar after your run, or overall, kind of tracking and making sure that you are getting in proper protein to rebuild your muscles. And as for hydration, you can drink roughly a gallon of water. Obviously you don't need to drink that much depending on how much you're running, but again, summer, it's very, very hot. You guys are going to want to make sure that you are staying well hydrated, because low hydration can be the death of you, literally. So make sure you guys are getting hydrated, you guys are eating well, so that you can actually recover from these hard efforts that you put in. So that's kind of gonna be it for this video, guys. Those are just kind of the quick tips that I was able to think of that kind of helped me. Again, like I said before, this video idea came from one of my comments that I got from my previous video that I made. So, again, if you have any ideas, or, even for this video, if you have any tips that, helped you personally, send it out in the comments, and somebody might gain something from that. So make sure to do that. Also, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. You don't have to, obviously, but it does support the channel, it does support me personally, so I'd greatly appreciate that. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.